Come on, you're just about to harvest your next grow? Let's talk about ways to make dank extracts out of that harvest. Come on, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Grow Lab. If you want to connect with the best growers from all over the world, get tips and tricks on how to grow the dankest plants possible, and not have to worry about the censorship we get from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Go check out realgrowlab.com. Get all kinds of great Grow Talk Q&A. Plus, see all the stuff YouTube won't let me show you in these videos. Sign up and join our growing community over at realgrowlab.com. Or download the app at the Apple or Android App Store. Now let's get back to today's video. Come on, High C, you want to make some extracts?
I do. So hanging out with you, you've always got way more flower than we can consume.
Yeah.
And you've actually kind of dipped your toes into extracts lately.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to my friend Turpicana Kyle. He actually I took my last harvest and made it all into live resin, which is really neat.
Okay, so I hear the term resin and I hear the term rosin.
Yep.
And then I also hear the term live. Let's break down what each of those mean.
Okay, resin is BHO. It's when you pack a column, or you take the actual flower, you pack it in some kind of column or something like that, and then they'll use butane, very clean butane. I know it gets a bad rap, but you can get very high quality clean butane, and they will, it's a solvent, and they will dissolve the cannabinoids in there, and then you'll get this really concentrated extract out of it.
So is that butane blasted? I think I've heard that term.
Butane blasted. Back in the day, they would call it butane honey oil. You get a really good product from it. What you got to do is you got to make sure that they purge out that last little bit of butane.
So that was always my fear.
Sure.
Is there going to be butane in what I'm smoking?
Right. Right. So that leads to rosin. I'm looking in the corner of my eye. I see my rosin press over there. Rosin just uses heat and pressure. You're trying to extract this, the cannabinoids and the terpenes, all the active ingredients, and they're all in those trichome heads. So what you're doing is with the butane, you're solubilizing. You're actually liquidizing those trichomes. Here we're just squeezing them. So we're just taking them. They used to do it with they take a bud. The original rosin press was the hair straightener, your girlfriend's hair straightener.
Okay.
And you take some wax paper, you take the bud, and you would just squeeze it. And all that residual stuff you would get, that was the essence of it. And yeah, rosin, you can get, I don't know, it's up of 70% THC, 60, 70%. But the wrap on rosin is you get a lot of the terpenes.
So from my limited knowledge, does that mean that the rosin ends up tasting better, have more of those profiles?
Yeah, that's the wrap on it. It's just like organics versus synthetics. You know, these are just two religions, this thing people like. A rosin press is pretty pure. And it's pretty easy to say, I'm going to heat this thing up and I'm going to squeeze it and I'm going to squeeze the juices out of it. When you're packing a column full of butane and having a $30,000 system, and I mean, I could see why one might favor the other. And shout out, I was just in Missouri for a cannabis event there. And I showed up with a whole bunch of different really badass live resin that I had, BHO. People looked at it and they go, "Oh, that's resin, that's BHO," and they would hand it back. Man, they didn't want to smoke it. And by the way, I've been saying live. My rosin was live, the resin is live. What that means is really interesting. When you harvest the bud, instead of taking it and letting it dry and then blasting it or squeezing it, they are taking it and putting it in a freeze dryer. They're not letting it dry. They're taking this wet weed and they'll put it in a freeze dryer. That's how they'll dry it. And the idea with the freeze dryer is there's some pressure on the buds so all the cannabinoids don't volatilize off. So that way when you're squeezing it or when you're extracting it, no matter what, as long as it was dried in a freeze dryer, you're preserving a lot more terpenes. And that's why live resin and rosin is much terpier.
Okay. For me, and maybe this is just me hallucinating, we ate some mushrooms before the show. When I smoke resin, I get tolerant to it a lot faster than rosin. It seems like I can smoke rosin and it kicks my butt every single time. But if I buy a cart of resin, after the third or fourth time, it doesn't hit me the same.
You said cart. I don't know what they're doing to those carts, but those carts don't really get me. They don't get me to where I need to be. If you were to just take a dab of that BHO that I have over there,
okay,
we're going to do an experiment. Cut for 5 minutes. Nah, just kidding.
We just never come back.
Yeah. Right.
All right, we're back through the power of editing. It seems like we didn't even go anywhere.
I'm fine. I don't know about you.
Let's talk about, based off of how I'm growing, which one is more preferable, either doing rosin or resin?
Yeah, I guess, if I had my choice of both, I would try to figure out which how my harvest came out, because I think they can do a little bit of tricks to clean things up with the BHO. With the rosin, they'll make bubble hash first, and then they will use that and squeeze that in the press. Man, if you have really good quality cannabis, good stuff's going to come out. If you have mids, there's no way you're polishing that up,
Right. A couple of years back, we were at the Oklahoma Cannabis Cup, the Cowboy Cup.
Sure.
I met some guys that were growing outdoor center pivot.
Yep.
And they said they grew it all for
Extraction. Yeah.
extraction. They said BHO.
Yep.
And they said they didn't care how good the cannabis came out because the resin would come out good no matter what.
Yeah, they have remediation, they call it, where they can color remediate it. They can add terpenes to it. I don't trust that remediation thing. I didn't trust it in middle school, man. Yeah, but there's a lot more tricks. That's why rosin, just like we talked about, it's more pure. Okay, rosin, it's fun when you're hanging out with somebody and you go, I grew this and then I squeezed it with heat and pressure and ice and water, and that's how I got this beautiful extract, as opposed to saying, hey, I ran it through a diatomaceous earth filter, took out the cleaned up, did a little color correction on it, blasted it through my BHO, and now, hey, look at this. Doesn't it look pretty? It's just a little bit different philosophy. And you're talking to a guy that loves BHO, by the way.
Okay. So as a small scale grower,
Right.
I think that I would favor turning my flower into rosin, but I can see if I was a big scale grower, why resin might be the way I would go.
Absolutely. I don't know if you can say I have a little rosin press over there. If we were going to smoke out after this, I'd be like, come on, let's go grab a bud. Here, I've got a bud. We're going to just squeeze it, and we're going to do flower rosin, by the way, which rosin snoots are probably shaking their head. The flower rosin is much less pure than if you use the bubble bags, make bubble hash first.
We're going to have to do a future video on how to do bubble hash.
Yes. Hey, but that is just me. I love making rosin, but I also love smoking good BHO resin. So what about you? Come on, what's your preference? Let me know in the comments. And if you dug this video, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. I sure think you'll dig them.